This was the most unusual tour in the history of this channel. When I first heard about the EnviroFlight farm, a place where they grow black soldier fly larvae for animal feed, I imagined something straight out of science fiction or a horror movie. But what I saw wasn't just fascinating, it was revolutionary for the future of feed. I never thought raising flies could be this exciting. Yes, you heard that right. Flies. Got questions? Of course you do. Stick around to get all the answers. Let's start with the basics. What exactly are black soldier fly larvae, and why are they so special? So, the black soldier fly? Not some action hero from a movie, but a small insect called Hermetia illucens, addresses two major challenges of our time: the feed shortage and the environmental crisis. Its larvae are tiny protein bombs. These creatures consume organic waste and turn it into high-quality feed for fish, poultry, and even pets. Larvae can process up to 110 tons of organic waste on just 2.5 acres of production space in a single month. What's more, they use 47% less water and produce 200 times less carbon dioxide than traditional livestock. EnviroFlight is one of the first companies to scale up this process. I visited their farm and saw firsthand how this ecosystem works. Imagine massive rooms filled with trays of larvae. Smelly? Sure, a bit, but it's more the smell of change, and I'm not exaggerating. The idea of using insects as a protein source didn't just come out of nowhere. It stemmed from global problems that have been brewing for decades: population growth, resource shortages, and the massive environmental toll of traditional livestock farming. But how did humanity come up with the idea of farming flies? People have been eating insects for thousands of years. In many parts of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, it's a normal thing. But until the 20th century, the concept of using insects as feed, instead of food for humans, was almost unheard of. Let's be honest, who would have thought, hey, let's raise flies to feed chickens? The first wave of interest in insects came in the 1960s. Scientists started noticing that insects could be a protein source requiring minimal resources. But the idea didn't take off back then. People still relied on traditional methods: corn, soy, and fishmeal. Then the modern environmental crisis emerged, forcing researchers to look for alternatives. The Hermetia illucens larvae became the star for a reason. Imagine this: the fly doesn't spread diseases, doesn't buzz around your house like a common housefly, and most importantly, its larvae can digest nearly any organic waste. It's the perfect little recycler. Interestingly, serious research into larvae started in the 1990s, and guess who funded it? Waste management companies. They were looking for ways to reduce the volume of organic waste ending up in landfills. It turned out that black soldier fly larvae could destroy up to 60% of organic material, converting it into protein and fats. That's when scientists thought, what if we used this for animal feed? Around the mid-2000s, the idea of insects as feed began gaining momentum. Picture startup founders in labs figuring out how to grow larvae on an industrial scale. They saw the growing demand for farmed fish and understood, if we don't find an alternative to fishmeal, ocean ecosystems are doomed. The first successful projects appeared in Europe and the United States. One of the pioneers was EnviroFlight, which launched the concept of growing black soldier flies on organic waste. Their approach was simple yet brilliant. They created a closed-loop ecosystem where organic waste was transformed into feed, and leftover larvae were used as fertilizer. Let's talk about fish feed, because this part really blew my mind. Did you know most fish feed is made from fish meal? Every year, over 15 million tons of wild fish are caught to produce feed for aquaculture. That's an enormous blow to marine ecosystems. Black soldier fly larvae provide an alternative that not only reduces dependence on fish meal, but also helps preserve oceanic fauna. For instance, 1 ton of larvae can replace over 2 tons of fish meal. That's equivalent to saving nearly 5 tons of wild fish. EnviroFlight raises larvae in controlled conditions where they feed on organic waste, leftovers from fruits, vegetables, or even coffee grounds. It's essentially a farm where the animals are tiny but incredibly productive larvae. They're fed, cared for, and when they reach a certain age, harvested, dried, and turned into feed. By the way, The entire process is designed to minimize environmental harm. From every 2 pounds of larvae, you can get over 10 ounces of high-protein feed. For comparison, raising pork requires about 13 pounds of feed to produce just 2 pounds of meat. Here, we've got a product that's several times more efficient than livestock farming. A lot of people are skeptical about the idea of feeding cats or dogs insects. But here's an interesting fact. According to a 2022 study, over 60% of pet owners in the United States are willing to buy pet food made from eco-friendly protein sources, including insects. Black soldier fly larvae have already been included in many premium pet foods. Their protein is not only nutritious, but also hypoallergenic. This is crucial for pets with sensitive stomachs or allergies to standard feeds. When I first heard the buzzing of these flies on the farm, I felt something strange. A bit unusual, a bit eerie, but mostly awe. This is the future we're building right now. I still think this process looks a bit futuristic, but if it's what will save our oceans, feed millions of pets, and make our planet better, I'm all in. How about you? Ready to support the idea of larvae in feed? It's good that humanity finally realizes how much traditional livestock farming drains the planet. For example, raising one cow costs the world more water and resources than an entire facility of larvae. People increasingly want to make eco-friendly choices, even in pet food. It's predicted that by the year 2050, Earth's population will grow to 10 billion. Finding new food sources isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Does this kind of farming have a future? Let me answer that with another question. Does our planet have a future? Because if we don't switch to more sustainable food sources, we're in serious trouble. Right now, farms like EnviroFlight operate in over 30 countries, including the United States, the Netherlands, China, and South Africa. It's estimated that by the year 2030, the insect feed market will grow to $8 billion. Honestly, there's a certain irony to this. We spent hundreds of years trying to get rid of flies as pests, and now it turns out they might save our planet. Life loves surprises, doesn't it? From the outside, a farm like this looks like a cross between a factory and a greenhouse. The main building is modern, clean, and sterile. It's not a chaotic mess, but a high-tech space. The trays of larvae resemble multi-tiered shelves in a library, but instead of books, there are containers filled with wriggling larvae. Automation systems, robots and sensors, control everything from climate to the amount of food for the larvae. This farm isn't a chaotic swarm of flies and larvae. It's a structured system designed for maximum efficiency in farming and processing. It all starts in the fly room. This is a large space with special lighting and temperature control. Soldier flies buzz around in mesh containers or specially designed enclosures. They look pretty unremarkable. Black, medium-sized, with long wings. The room maintains a warm, humid climate, perfect for breeding. The main goal here is to give the flies a place to lay eggs. Female flies deposit thousands of tiny eggs into special containers. These containers are wooden or plastic panels with small holes. The eggs are then moved to incubators, basically warm shelves, where temperature and humidity are kept optimal. Within a few days, tiny larvae hatch from the eggs. Next, we move to the larva rearing sector. Rows of trays or containers are filled with organic waste, leftover food, vegetable scraps, grain byproducts, and more. In these trays, larvae crawl around, growing at an incredible rate. They look like tiny, creamy worms that literally turn waste into protein mass. Automated systems for feeding and monitoring are often used here, with special sensors tracking temperature, humidity, and even the larvae's appetite. When the larvae reach the right size, they are harvested using specialized sieves or automated conveyors. Then they undergo processing. The larvae are dried at high temperatures or frozen to preserve nutrients. The dried larvae are ground into powder or pellets, which become the basis for feed. Besides protein, larvae are rich in healthy fats. These fats are extracted using presses and used in feed or for industrial purposes. In the finished goods warehouse, protein powder, fats, and other products derived from larvae are stored before being shipped to buyers. Have you ever wondered how millions of cans of Monster Energy are produced, providing a daily energy boost to millions of people around the world? Today, I'm taking you behind the scenes at one of the largest factories in the United States, where this iconic drink is made. Get ready to witness the incredible scale of production and some truly fascinating details. When I arrived at the Monster Energy factory, the first thing that struck me was its sheer size. This isn't just a building, it's an entire world with a life of its own, where thousands of gallons of the famous energy drink are produced every day. Let me walk you through all the behind-the-scenes details that go into every can sitting on a supermarket shelf. The preparation of water is the first and most crucial stage in Monster Energy production. At the factory, the water goes through several purification steps, starting with coarse mechanical filtration and ending with reverse osmosis. Ultraviolet treatment and activated carbon are also used to remove any possible contaminants. The result is water of the highest quality, comparable to that used in the medical industry. This step is so critical that each batch of water undergoes rigorous multi-level testing in the lab to ensure its purity and compliance with strict quality standards. The factory uses state-of-the-art filtration systems that can remove even the tiniest particles, ensuring the water is perfect for use in the production process. Next comes the preparation of ingredients. Key components like taurine, caffeine, glucuronolactone, B vitamins, and sugar are carefully measured and mixed in precise proportions to create Monster Energy's signature taste. Special attention is given to the quality of each ingredient. For instance, caffeine arrives at the factory in pure powder form, undergoing strict quality control. Lab experts conduct thorough analyses of each batch of ingredients to ensure they meet the required standards. It's important to understand that each of these components plays a crucial role in delivering the energy and alertness that every Monster Energy drinker feels. Every ingredient is meticulously selected to maximize both effectiveness and consumer safety. The mixing takes place in enormous stainless steel tanks that hold up to 100,000 liters. In these tanks, all the ingredients are combined with the purified water, and the process of creating the drink begins. Special blade mixers ensure the even distribution of all substances, so that the flavor is consistent in every can. Once mixing is complete, samples are taken and sent to the lab for analysis. Everything is tested here, from sugar content to acidity levels and the correct balance of vitamins. Quality control at this stage is critical, as even the slightest variation in proportions could affect the final taste and quality of the drink. Once the drink is ready, it moves to the carbonation line, one of the most fascinating stages. Carbon dioxide is added to the liquid, giving the beverage its signature fizz. The level of carbonation is carefully controlled to ensure the perfect taste and mouthfeel when consumed. The carbonation process happens in several stages, allowing the optimal amount of carbon dioxide to dissolve into the liquid, delivering that fresh and energizing flavor. Every tank of the drink is tested to ensure that the carbonation levels meet the standards set for Monster Energy products. The next stage is filling the beverage into cans. The production line at the Monster Energy factory is a true marvel of modern engineering. The cans, made from aluminum, go through a pre-cleaning process before being filled. The cans are then filled under pressure to prevent the loss of carbon dioxide. The speed of the filling process is impressive. In 1 minute, the line can fill and seal up to 1,200 cans. After filling, each can is sealed with a lid and undergoes a leak test using advanced technology, including X-ray scanning. At this stage, a visual inspection is also carried out to ensure that each can meets external quality standards. There are no dents, scratches, or other defects that could affect the product's appearance. Once filled, the cans move on to the pasteurization stage. In specialized equipment, the cans are heated to a specific temperature, which helps eliminate potential microorganisms and extend the product's shelf life. Pasteurization is carefully controlled to preserve the drink's beneficial properties and flavor without compromising quality. The pasteurization technology is tailored to the characteristics of the energy drink to maintain its bold taste and freshness. The entire process is monitored by automated systems, ensuring consistent product quality throughout production. After pasteurization, the cans move on to the labeling and packaging stage. Here, each can is adorned with Monster Energy's bold and recognizable label. This process happens at incredible speed. Specialized machines can apply up to 60 labels per second. Once labeled, the cans are grouped together and packed into boxes, with each box holding 24 cans. The boxes are then stacked onto pallets and sent to the warehouse. The label is not just for decoration, it is the product's signature that grabs consumers' attention. At the factory, great care is taken to ensure the quality of both the printing and the attachment of the labels, so every can looks flawless. The factory's warehouse is a fully automated logistics center. Robotic arms carefully stack the pallets, and automated forklifts transport them to trucks. Each day, over 500,000 cans of Monster Energy are shipped from the warehouse, ready to be distributed across the country and internationally. The logistics are meticulously planned to ensure timely delivery of the product to any location in the world. The warehouse also maintains a strict inventory system, allowing for the tracking of every batch of products and ensuring quality is maintained throughout all stages of transportation. At the factory, special attention is given to product quality. Every stage of production is accompanied by strict quality control measures. The facility has its own laboratory, where hundreds of tests are conducted daily, from ingredient quality checks to analysis of the final product. Specialists not only monitor taste, but also the level of carbonation, the integrity of the can seals, and the overall appearance of the product. The laboratory is equipped with state-of-the-art instruments that allow precise analysis of the product's composition, ensuring its safety and compliance with standards. For instance, gas chromatography is used to measure the level of carbon dioxide, while spectrophotometry is employed to verify vitamin content. Additionally, the Monster Energy factory is actively working to reduce its environmental impact. Energy-saving technologies are utilized, and production waste is recycled. For example, aluminum cans that fail quality control are sent for recycling and reused, helping to reduce waste and lessen the factory's ecological footprint. The plant also collaborates with local authorities and environmental organizations to minimize carbon dioxide emissions and incorporate renewable energy sources into production. One example of these initiatives is the installation of solar panels on the roofs of the production buildings, which provide a portion of the factory's energy needs. This is California, USA, where around 1.7 million cows on thousands of dairy farms produce more than 13 million gallons of milk every day. So, how does this massive amount turn into the sweet treat that once saved soldiers' lives and changed history? I visited one of the largest factories in the world to dive into the fascinating process of making condensed milk and to share the story with you. In 1856, American inventor Gale Borden first came up with this product. His creation solved the dilemma of preserving milk in the days before refrigerators, making it possible to store milk in cans for at least a year. During the American Civil War, it played a crucial role in supplying soldiers with milk in combat zones where dairy cows were not available. Thanks to its long shelf life and valuable nutritional properties, it became the preferred choice for feeding soldiers. The process of making condensed milk begins on dairy farms. To meet the high demand for this delicious product, factories like Nestlé's in California operate around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This factory processes more than 420,000 gallons of milk daily. Massive tank trucks arrive non-stop, transporting between 130,000 and 185,000 gallons of milk each day from nearby farms. Most of the incoming milk was collected just 6 hours earlier, so it's incredibly fresh. However, before the milk is accepted, it undergoes lab testing. The fat and salt content must meet factory standards, and the milk must be free of antibiotics to avoid allergic reactions in some people. But where do the farmers get such milk? Most of the milk in the US comes from roughly 60,000 dairy farms, where over 9 million cows are raised specifically for milk production. Over the past century, the milking machine has become an essential tool. The part of the machine that attaches to the cow's teat is called a cup, and it works similarly to a hand, applying pressure to the udder to extract milk. A farmer can manually milk about 6 cows per hour, but with a specialized device, that number can jump to 100 cows per hour. The ingenuity of this innovative device has optimized milk production, but the way a farmer cares for their cows also impacts the quality of the milk. The more care given to the animals, the longer their lifespan and the more milk they produce. On this massive dairy farm, 8,000 cows graze. It's one of many farms that use technology to improve cow living conditions and boost productivity. In cow carousels, known as milking parlors, up to 80 cows can be milked at once, twice a day. Dairy cows are creatures of habit, and they enjoy sticking to a routine, which makes the milking process smoother. These advanced milking parlors outperform traditional machines, increasing the milk flow rate by 30%. Before attaching the milking cups, workers disinfect the cow's udders with an iodine solution. This process mimics the sucking motion of a calf to ensure organic milk production. The entire procedure takes about 7 minutes, and after milking, the cups automatically detach. These animals spend around 8 hours a day eating. Consuming 100 pounds of feed and 80 gallons of water, a cow can produce up to 10 gallons of milk a day, 7 days a week. Thanks to technological advancements and more nutrient-rich feeds, today's cows are 3 times more productive than they were 50 years ago. A dairy cow starts producing milk at around 2 years old, once she gives birth to her first calf. Typically, the calf is separated from its mother within an hour of birth to prevent harmful bacteria from reaching the mother's udder. From then on, the calf is bottle-fed with its mother's milk, while the cow begins her career as a milk producer. For 305 consecutive days, the cow is milked twice a day, after which she gets a well-deserved 60-day break to give birth to another calf. Once the cow delivers, the milking process begins all over again. The liquid produced by cows is a nutrient-rich substance that consists of 87% water. This process begins when food is digested in the cow's stomach and transformed into nutrients, which are absorbed into the bloodstream. These nutrients travel to the mammary glands, where they are converted into the valuable liquid we know as milk. Milk is collected from the udder at a temperature of 90 degrees Fahrenheit and transported via pumps into storage tanks, which are then cooled. In these tanks, the milk is stored at a safe temperature of 36 to 37 degrees Fahrenheit. However, at this stage, the milk is still in its natural state and may contain harmful microorganisms. That's why it is loaded into a 5,300-gallon tanker truck and taken to a dairy processing plant. After the milk has passed all stages of quality control, it is sent to a centrifuge separator to speed up the separation process. In the top section, cone-shaped discs spin at an impressive speed of 7,000 revolutions per minute, processing over 5,800 gallons per hour. Under the force of centrifugal action, the heavier skim milk moves outward, while the lighter cream moves toward the center. As a result, we get cream with a fat content of around 20% and skim milk with a fat content of less than 1%. The skim milk serves as the starting point for making condensed milk. Next, the milk undergoes the pasteurization process to destroy any bacteria present. To begin this procedure, the milk is first cooled to a temperature of around 37 degrees Fahrenheit, then passed through a heat exchanger that raises its temperature to 162 degrees Fahrenheit. After heating, the milk is transferred to a chamber where it is held for 15.5 seconds, achieving the required level of pasteurization. The milk is then cooled back down to 37 degrees Fahrenheit. In less than 40 seconds, complete pasteurization reduces the bacteria count in the product by 99%. Before the introduction of pasteurization technology, most consumed milk was in its natural state, leading to quick spoilage and exposing people to the risk of infection from potentially dangerous microorganisms. In 1862, the famous French scientist Louis Pasteur proposed an innovative solution originally aimed at preventing wine from spoiling, which was later applied to milk. After milk is pasteurized, a large amount of sugar is added to it. The sugar not only gives the milk a sweet taste, but also acts as a preservative, helping to extend its shelf life. The mixture of milk and sugar is reheated so that the sugar fully dissolves and becomes uniform. The heat not only helps dissolve the sugar, but also prevents the formation of crystals that could affect the smooth texture of condensed milk. After this, the milk enters an evaporator, an enormous device designed to remove water from the milk. At this stage, the milk becomes thicker as the water content is reduced by about 60%. Using heat and pressure, the evaporator manages to evaporate the water from the milk without altering its properties, allowing the concentration of solids like proteins, sugars, and fats. This process gives condensed milk its thick texture and delightful sweet flavor. The evaporator consists of a series of vertical structures called calandrias. Inside each calandria is a set of stainless steel tubes through which the milk circulates. A steam chamber surrounds these tubes. The milk enters each calandria from the top and flows down through tiny channels. As it moves downward, the steam enveloping the tubes heats the milk, causing the water within it to evaporate. Once the milk reaches the desired thickness, it is removed from the evaporator. Next, the milk undergoes an additional process called homogenization, where the fat is broken down into small uniform particles to improve its consistency and stability. Before the condensed milk is packaged, the containers must be sterilized to eliminate any microorganisms that could affect the product's quality. Once the condensed milk is processed and has reached the perfect consistency, it is transferred to a packaging machine. These machines precisely measure the required amount of product into each container, ensuring consistency and reducing waste. After filling, the containers are sealed tightly to prevent any contaminants from entering. To ensure the product's safety, the filled and sealed containers undergo an additional sterilization process. The cans are placed in autoclaves, where they are exposed to steam under high pressure to destroy any remaining microorganisms. This procedure ensures that the condensed milk inside the container is completely safe to consume and has a long shelf life. In addition to meeting domestic demand, condensed milk is widely exported around the world. Thanks to its long shelf life and high nutritional value, it is a popular product in countries with limited access to fresh milk. Condensed milk-producing countries like the United States and several European nations actively supply this product to markets in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The export of condensed milk helps strengthen international trade relationships and ensures that people in various regions have access to quality dairy nutrition. Heinz is a brand that has conquered the world. Just imagine. 11 billion bottles of ketchup are sold every year, and every second bottle in the United States is a Heinz. But what is this ketchup really made of? What drives such incredible success? And what secrets are hidden in every drop? Keep reading to uncover all the mysteries behind this iconic sauce. The main ingredient in Heinz ketchup is tomatoes. The production process starts with the careful selection of raw materials, where Heinz applies strict standards for choosing ingredients. Heinz uses special varieties of tomatoes grown exclusively for making ketchup. These tomatoes have a high content of natural sugars and acids, which gives the product its unique flavor. The tomatoes are cultivated on certified farms that follow strict environmental standards. By the way, did you know that the first ketchup recipe, which came from Asia, wasn't made from tomatoes? The recipe has completely transformed over time, allowing us to enjoy the wonderful sauce we have today. So, let me continue. Before purchasing the tomatoes, each batch undergoes laboratory testing to check for nutrients, acidity levels, and compliance with safety standards. Only the best tomatoes are used to make Heinz ketchup. In addition to tomatoes, other ingredients like sugar, vinegar, salt, spices, and natural flavorings are used in the recipe. All of these components are also rigorously tested to ensure they meet quality standards. Once the tomatoes are selected, They are transported to the factory for initial processing. At this stage, the tomatoes undergo thorough preparation before further refinement. First, they arrive at an automated line where they are washed using water sprays. This process takes place on a conveyor belt, allowing a continuous flow of tomatoes to be cleaned. Highly efficient water systems are used to remove dirt and dust from each tomato. On the conveyor belt, the tomatoes are sorted by quality and size. Optical sensors are employed to automatically reject any tomatoes that do not meet the standards. Any defective tomatoes are either sent for reprocessing or disposed of. The remaining tomatoes go through machines that peel off the skin. This often involves a process called thermal treatment, blanching, where the tomatoes are briefly heated to make the skins easy to remove. After peeling, the tomatoes are ground into a puree. This is done with special grinding machines that break down the flesh into small particles. The tomatoes are transformed into a smooth mass, which will later be used to make ketchup. Interestingly, until the 1990s, ketchup was mainly used as an ingredient in cooking. People baked pies, fish, and meat with it. It wasn't until the introduction of hamburgers, hot dogs, and French fries that ketchup became a standalone sauce. So we can thank the Germans and Belgians for inventing those foods. At this stage, the tomato puree is blended with other ingredients to make Heinz ketchup according to its classic recipe. The preparation process also involves automated systems that ensure continuous production. Into the pre-prepared tomato puree, other ingredients like sugar, salt, vinegar, and spices are added. The dosing process is handled by automatic dispensers, which precisely measure the amount of each ingredient to achieve the perfect flavor. Once all the ingredients are added, the puree is transferred to large mixers. Here, the mixture is thoroughly blended until it reaches a smooth, uniform consistency. The mixing machines are equipped with blades that rotate at high speeds, ensuring the ingredients are evenly incorporated. To ensure a long shelf life and eliminate harmful microorganisms, the mixture goes through a pasteurization process. The ketchup is heated to high temperatures, usually around 194 to 203 degrees Fahrenheit, which helps preserve its freshness without the need for artificial preservatives. This process is controlled by automated systems that maintain the exact temperature and processing time needed. Conveyor systems play a crucial role in ensuring the seamless production process at Heinz factories. Here's how the conveyor system works across different stages of ketchup production. One of the most important steps is the transportation of raw materials. All ingredients, tomato puree, sugar, vinegar, and other components, are moved along conveyor lines to the mixing stations. This helps maintain precise dosing and speeds up the process. After the ketchup is prepared, it is transported via conveyors to the packaging department. But before I dive into the packaging process, here's an interesting tip. Did you know you can clean and polish metal items with ketchup? Its ingredients make it an eco-friendly and natural cleaning solution. Simply rub ketchup onto your pots, let it sit for about 10 minutes, then rinse it off with clean running water. I keep meaning to try this hack myself, but I always end up eating the ketchup before I get the chance. Now, back to packaging. It's a fully automated process that involves several steps: filling the bottles, capping, and labeling. Let me break them down for you in more detail. Bottle filling. The ketchup is poured into pre-prepared, sterilized bottles. Automated machines precisely control the amount of ketchup in each bottle, preventing both overfilling and underfilling. Fun fact: a ketchup fan once set a world record by drinking an entire bottle in just 32.27 seconds. Capping. After the bottles are filled, they are automatically sealed with caps. Automated capping machines ensure each bottle is tightly and securely closed. Labeling. Immediately after capping, the bottles are sent to labeling machines, where each bottle is affixed with a label. The machines carefully position the labels to ensure a neat and polished appearance for the product. One of the most critical stages is quality control during ketchup production. Throughout the conveyor line process, automated quality control systems are in place. Sensors and cameras inspect the fill level of the bottles, the tightness of the caps, and the accuracy of the labeling. If a defective bottle is found, it is automatically removed from the conveyor line. To ensure a long shelf life for ketchup, The bottles undergo a final sterilization process after packaging. First, the bottles of ketchup are placed in autoclaves, where high temperatures and pressure are applied to complete the sterilization of the product. This process eliminates any remaining microorganisms that may have survived pasteurization, ensuring the product's safety without the need for preservatives. After the heat treatment, the bottles are cooled to room temperature. This process is also automated and carefully monitored to prevent any thermal damage to the bottles. I should also mention the benefits of ketchup for those looking to lose weight, as 3.5 ounces of the sauce contain only 112 calories. Once all stages of production are complete, Heinz ketchup is prepared for shipment to warehouses and retail locations. The finished ketchup bottles are transported from the production line to the warehouse using automated systems. At the warehouse, the products are sorted by batches and expiration dates. Special pallet systems are used to store the bottles at controlled temperatures to prevent any damage or loss of quality during storage. Heinz also has a well-organized logistics system that ensures product distribution worldwide. This process relies on modern automated tracking systems to monitor the movement of goods. The products are distributed through distribution centers and delivered to stores, supermarkets, and specialized retail locations. Strict transportation conditions are maintained to preserve the quality of the ketchup during transit. As I mentioned before, quality control is an integral part of every stage of Heinz ketchup production. Every step, from selecting the tomatoes to packaging, is monitored using advanced technologies and automated systems. The key quality control measures include laboratory analysis of ingredients, temperature monitoring, and inspection of the finished product. Every ingredient that enters the production process is tested to meet safety and quality standards. During heat treatment, the temperature is constantly monitored to ensure product safety and preserve its flavor. After pasteurization and sterilization, the finished ketchup undergoes further testing to ensure it meets quality standards, including checks for thickness, color, taste, and consistency. The Heinz logo adorns every third bottle of ketchup worldwide, and in the United States, it's on every second bottle. Heinz is one of the foremost recognized food brands globally. Each year, Heinz sells 11 billion bottles, which is roughly 2 bottles for every person on Earth. Founded in 1869, the company has remained at the forefront of the food industry by constantly evolving and maintaining high-quality standards. Just think about it. 155 years on the market. An impressive figure, right? Heinz operates 74 factories worldwide and distributes its products in more than 200 countries. They were also among the first to expand internationally, and today they hold around 30% of the global ketchup market. In fact, Heinz is considered a pioneer in many production trends. They increased the number of bottles produced per worker from 350 to 3,500. Heinz was also the first to introduce cleanliness in production. Before that, it's hard to imagine the unsanitary conditions where food was made. Additionally, they significantly reduced the use of preservatives in their products. The Heinz family tirelessly worked on automating their factories and created a real assembly line long before Henry Ford. The company has also received numerous medals and awards for advertising their products. Moreover, Heinz had to defend their original bottle designs in court to protect their unique shape for ketchup bottles. Imagine candies being produced at a rate of 400 million pieces every single day. If you lined up a year's worth of M&Ms, they would wrap around the earth several times. Want to know the secret behind making these legendary treats that melt in your mouth, not in your hand? Then buckle up. We're about to embark on a sweet journey through the M&M's factory. Today, M&M's are produced at several factories around the world, and one of the most famous is located in New Jersey. Spanning 500,000 square feet, this factory fills the air with a sweet aroma that can take adults right back to their childhood. Around 400 million M&Ms are made here every single day. The number of candies produced in a year is so enormous that if you lined them up, they could circle the earth 36 times. That's an overwhelming abundance of cocoa-filled sweetness. The process of making M&Ms begins with crafting the finest chocolate. The cocoa is primarily sourced from tropical regions in West Africa, Latin America, and parts of Asia, key areas for chocolate production. At the initial stage, milk, cocoa liquor, sugar, and cocoa butter are combined to create the chocolate mixture. Cocoa liquor is a liquid substance made from ground cocoa beans, containing both cocoa fat and cocoa solids. Cocoa butter gives the chocolate its signature smooth, creamy texture. Sugar is added to sweeten the mixture and balance out the bitterness of the cocoa. To create milk chocolate, powdered milk is used. In production, these ingredients are mixed together in large vats until they form a uniform chocolate mass. At the factory, a massive tank processes over 130,000 pounds of chocolate every day. After the chocolate mixture is prepared, it undergoes refining to remove excess particles and achieve a smooth texture. Refining involves processing the chocolate mass to create a finer consistency. The chocolate passes through several refiners that reduce the size of the particles to the desired specifications. As a result, the semi-liquid mass transforms into a fine powder. In M&Ms, the size of the refined particles can reach as small as 20 microns, giving the chocolate its delightful melt-in-your-mouth sensation. This refined chocolate becomes the heart of each delicious candy. Following the refining process, the cocoa powder goes through a stage called conching, which takes place in large machines known as conches. During this process, the powder is mixed with additional cocoa butter and cocoa liquor. Inside the conches, the mixture is heated and stirred for an extended period. This step helps further reduce the tiny particles and remove excess moisture, improving the flavor and texture of the chocolate. After refining and conching, the chocolate reaches the perfect texture and flavor. At this stage, the melted chocolate is shaped into tiny solid pieces called lenses. The chocolate is poured into special molds with a small, rounded structure where the M&Ms are formed. These molds create the signature rounded and slightly flattened shape of the candy. Once molded, the chocolate centers are cooled on the production line using refrigeration tunnels. This step allows the chocolate cores to harden, making them sturdy enough to handle during the next stages without losing their shape. After cooling, the cores go through a sieving process, which mechanically separates and sorts the pieces. This filter removes any excess chocolate that may have formed during molding. Only the perfectly shaped cores move on to the next stage of production. Once the chocolate centers have reached the perfect shape, they are placed in large rotating drums for the application of the sugar coating. It's at this stage that the famous chocolate candies get their signature crispy and colorful outer layer. The drums continuously rotate to ensure the sweet sugar glaze evenly covers each piece. As the drums spin, a liquid sugar syrup is applied to the chocolate centers. This syrup, made primarily of sugar and glucose, forms the outer shell of the M&Ms. During the spinning process, the syrup is evenly distributed over each candy. After every layer of syrup is applied, the candies are dried. The moisture from the syrup gradually evaporates, causing the coating to harden and form a crispy layer around the chocolate core, preventing it from melting when touched. This process is repeated several times, adding new layers of sugar. Next comes polishing, which gives the candy a smooth and shiny finish. Once the M&Ms are covered with a hardened and polished coating, they are placed in special trays for alignment. These trays ensure the candies are properly positioned for the printing of the letter M. The method used to apply the letter to each candy is known as pad printing, a technique that allows for precise printing on rounded surfaces. The candies are then quickly dried to set the ink firmly on the surface, without affecting the shine. M&M's candies are sorted by color. Candies of each shade are matched with others of the same hue to ensure even color combinations in the packaging. This meticulous process guarantees a uniform distribution of colors in every package. Before packaging, candies of different colors are mixed together through an automated process. Specialized machines ensure that the mixture is consistent, maintaining the set proportions. Once the product is ready, it moves to the packaging department, where it is carefully weighed to make sure each bag contains the correct number of candies. Then, the M&Ms are packaged using an automated system that ensures both speed and accuracy. The bags are sealed tightly to preserve the freshness of the candies and protect them from moisture and other factors that could affect their quality. The machines gather the bags and place them into boxes, which are then sent to a palletizer for stacking onto pallets. The pallets are loaded onto trucks, and the M&Ms are delivered to customers across the country. The factory operates around the clock, 7 days a week. The original M&M's factory in New Jersey remains one of the leading producers for the North American market. The history of M&M's is filled with fascinating moments and innovations that have contributed to their worldwide popularity. One such milestone was the introduction of the blue M&Ms, which added a splash of brightness and variety to the already beloved candy palette. In 1995, Mars decided to hold a worldwide vote among consumers to choose a new color for the M&M's candies. This was part of a major marketing campaign aimed at refreshing the brand and attracting public attention. Consumers were given the choice between 3 colors: blue, pink, and purple. As a result of the vote, in which millions of people from around the globe participated, blue emerged as the winner. Blue M&Ms replaced the light brown candies that had been part of the original color palette since the brand's inception. The introduction of the blue color not only gave the product a fresh look, but also symbolized the company's strong connection with its consumers, showing that customer feedback plays an important role in the brand's development. The addition of blue M&Ms became a landmark event, solidifying the brand's position in the market and demonstrating its ability to adapt to audience preferences. Since then, blue M&Ms have become a staple in the classic assortment, delighting fans with their vibrant hue and consistent flavor. The history of M&Ms began in 1941, when Forrest Mars invented the candy as a creative solution to keep chocolate solid in hot conditions. He was inspired by a technique he observed during the Spanish Civil War, where soldiers enjoyed chocolate bowls coated with sugar that didn't melt in the sun. Mars decided to develop a similar candy in the United States, and it became a massive success, especially during World War II. M&Ms were the perfect treat for soldiers because of their durability and portability. The sugar coating prevented the chocolate from melting, making them ideal for hot climates and easy to include in military rations. As the brand grew, it introduced new innovations and updates, one of the most notable being the introduction of blue M&Ms.